Don't you wish all jobs came with a training manual, especially parenting? I have 4 boys at home, and I remember through their development, I just wish I had a chart or a roadmap of exactly where they needed to be and when. It can be so hard through that journey of development to know, are they on track? Are they off track? What should come first? What should come next? Is this common? Is this normal? Are they behind? Gosh, it just gets crazy when we think about our own kids and when we think about others. And that's why I want to talk to you about this video, because we get to see so many kiddos in practice that struggle with developmental delays throughout developmental milestones. But here's what I want to talk about is sometimes that's normal, sometimes that's common, and sometimes we can help that. But as parents, it's hard to know what's common, normal, are they on track or are they behind? So we want to talk about that first of what is normal development, and then help you really to trust that mom or dad gut as a parent. If you're feeling like your son or daughter is maybe a little bit behind as a baby, as a 2-year-old, as a 4 or 5-year-old, how do we look through that through developmental eyes and say, how can we really help that? How can we help it in the right ways, in the right sequence, and in the right order that's gonna give you the best results? One thing that I'm always remembered when I talk to new parents is, just like myself, is we don't necessarily know when things are supposed to happen or when they're supposed to happen, but we have a really good idea in our gut, in that like intuitive sense that says, okay, this is what should be happening or what shouldn't. And this was so the case with a little girl named Isla that we took care of. She had a difficult birth. She was born with a lot of tension in her upper neck, in her shoulders. She was actually diagnosed with torticollis, with plagiocephaly, so altered head shape. And she was down the route to basically get into a helmet and to do a lot of PT and a lot of other good therapies for her to help. But mom started to feel in her gut, this isn't really getting to the root cause of the problem. She hit 6, 7 months old, still not able to get full range of motion in her neck. And mom started to notice that that lack of range of motion was causing her not to be able to roll over to one side. It was causing her not to feel real comfortable getting up on her hands or knees for that next step of crawling. And here's the truth of it. Isla's story is all too common, right? We go as a parent and we go through these different check marks until we get to that one milestone that they're supposed to accomplish, and you say something isn't right here. So I want to walk you through all of these really in the phases, and then really where they're coming from and what to do about it. So as we dig into here, I'm actually going to change screens on this because there's 2 main phases to baby development. And this is really to simplify it. And I love it because with kids, my mind goes to simple because they are so complex behaviorally and craziness and learning and growth that you just have to simplify this. Phase 1 for babies is really eat, sleep, poop, and move. That's why so much with babies, that first 4 months phase is really just eat, sleep, and poop. It's very much so, I need to nurse, I need to latch, I need to swallow, and then I need to digest it, move it along, and get it out. And in between times, the majority of the time, I'm calm, I'm sleeping, I'm not really doing a whole lot. And then when you hit, 4 to really 8 months, that's where more of the movement starts, right? We get a little better head control. They start sitting up. They can start solid foods. They start getting their butt up underneath them, and they can, sit and kind of wobble and crawl into cruising and standing. That is really phase 1 of baby development. If that all goes well and smooth in a very efficient manner, where we see them hitting those things with ease, easy latch, easy digestion, very calm with sleep, digesting like a boss and moving in that good sequence, that's so important. And it's gonna lead to phase 2. The reason this video is so important for you parents developmentally is oftentimes we get to phase 2 where it comes to speech, communication, sensory, social, learning, all those different things. And we realize, okay, there's something going on with my kid's development here, but that's because there was more of a struggle in phase 1 with eating, with sleep, with poop, with something down that road that's not allowing them to get into that phase 2 of development for the more complex or more higher level cognitive development phases of that. And that was the same with Isla is, yes, she wasn't moving, but mom, in your gut, you're thinking, okay, what does this mean? If she can't walk, My pediatrician says they have to walk before they talk, right? And they've got to talk before they can make friends and be social and learn and go into all those higher level things. So how do we address that first and really help development move easy to then hit that higher level of baby development? So what are some signs that we often see that are struggles, and really where does it come from? You know, the most common stressor that babies are going to go through is right here during the birth. And you could talk about this prenatally, during the delivery process, and right postnatally, but birth can be stressful for a couple main reasons. The main one is physical stress, you know, whether it be a C-section birth, whether it be, you know, an induction, whether they have to use some manual assistance to get baby out, that can be stressful physically on baby, especially up here in the upper cervical spine and shoulders. That is so key because that is where a lot of our latch and swallow reflexes come from. It's where our nervous system has a neural brake pedal that helps us calm down and sleep. And it's also an area that's attached to the vagus nerve that goes to the gut and causes us to really help us digest and move fluids and food through, which is so important for babies to keep them calm and comfortable. Secondarily, this area right up here, the cerebellum, controls all those movement functions. It controls crawling, it controls coordination, all of those things that happen, you know, that 4 to 8 month period that we want to see go very well with babies. Here's the key point, is when there's a lot of stress, either in this birth process or on, it messes up the sequence of development. So kiddos might not be as good at digesting. They might not be a great sleeper. Then they might not move really well. And then they struggle with the next step, the speech. They're a little bit sensory adverse. They don't like loud noises. They don't like big crowds. They don't like the shirt that they're wearing or the jeans that they've got on. And then that affects their socialization and play. And then it can affect focus, attention, learning when they get into kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and beyond. And it's not that that struggle there isn't important. It's that the sequence in the beginning wasn't where it should be. So a lot of times with this, it's not just they're missing a milestone or they're not accomplishing this. It's, are they accomplishing it in the right order? So that's why it's so important, you know, to see, activate that digestive system, get sleep really good, get poop really good, and then you're gonna move through that. You're gonna latch, you're gonna have head control, you're gonna crawl, you're gonna walk, then you're gonna run. You're not gonna leave any of those out because they are so important through moving through development. So oftentimes the struggles we see with a difficult birth process, with physical stress, is more stiffness, more arching. They might skip crawling. They might have constant struggles with sleep. They might be diagnosed with colic, have eye contact struggles, not interactive, not babbling. All those different things are signs early developmentally that we can address and help with before we get into phase 2, where there's more speech, communication, and higher level cognitive things that we want to deal with. The challenge here is recognizing it, trusting your gut moms and saying, hey, they're not just going to grow out of it, but we can help those things early on if we get them into the right things to allow them then to thrive later on. What's the answer to this? You know, the answer so often is not only trusting our gut, but it's finding the right team. And what we focus on so much at PWC Chiropractic and with pediatric chiropractic in general is looking back at these milestones, really addressing the cause to allow the body to get into an easy, efficient state to work through these milestones. An awesome PhD molecular biologist, Bruce Lipton, said, you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. And so often when kids go through a difficult birth, a difficult delivery, stress early on, they get more in protection. When you're in more protection, you start to miss milestones. The whole basis of pediatric chiropractic care is get babies out of that protective state, get their sympathetic system, that stress stuck on state, toned down so they can get more in that brake pedal, that rest, relax, digest that goes with development and with ease. If they're there, their bodies are able to accomplish all those phase 1 activities that we talked about to then get into phase 2 activities. So the purpose of this video, and if you know anyone who might be watching this that needs to hear this, share it, is to help you see that, trust your mom gut, and contact a pediatric chiropractor. Read more about it, dig in, ask the questions so that we can help them hit those milestones in phase 1, and then we can help them later on into phase 2 so that the challenges that come from birth and early developmental stressors don't turn into bigger things as they go. We know every kiddo is a little bit unique, so we want to chat about it. That's why our doctors at PWC are here to talk to you and to have a consult with you even before you come in, because we want to address the cause. We want to dig deep and say, okay, how can we best help, just like we did little 𝐸𝐿a, to really quarterback her care to help her not only just get head turning, get her crawling, but then help her developmentally all along the way. So if you have questions about this, I'd love for you to comment below. Let us know what you're thinking off this video. Also, if you know someone to share this with, I'd really, really appreciate it, because this is one of the #1 questions we have when parents come in, is what is common and what is normal development? And don't we all just wish we had that playbook and everything was the same? That's why we need a tribe to come with us to help us down that road, to really know the phases of pediatric and baby development, so we know we're helping them when we can and get them through it to thriving throughout their childhood. Hope this video finds you well. God bless, and we'll see you soon.